Well, Bill Gates wants to tell you how to live in so many ways. He's not a doctor. He's not a climatologist. He's not a virologist. The guy made, speaking of viruses, I mean, he made Microsoft one of the virus-prone computers out there. But boy, he wants to tell you how to live. I don't know why he doesn't just retire and enjoy his, what, $130 billion. He's all over the place commanding mandatory vaccination with no liability to the companies. I find it odd, but he also has bizarre environmental views. Here's a tweet that I dug up from the past. It's so gross, I warn you in advance. Ugh, I can't even read it without gagging. I'll just let you read that yourself. I just literally, that reading those words will make me gag out loud. I'm sorry, that's just super gross. But Bill Gates, I think when you have that much money, you want to transform yourself into some sort of messiah, some sort of guru, I don't know, because Bill Gates is telling us how to live in a lot of different ways. He has become one of the largest landowners in America of agricultural land, and yet he's investing in artificial meat, saying that humans will soon love synthetic meat. That's not going to make me retch the same way as his poop tweet did, but it's pretty gross. And now he has a new book out called How to Avoid a Climate Disaster. Is there anything that Bill Gates doesn't want to tell us how to live our life to? I suppose when you're that rich, no one around you dares say no. They're just enablers. Joining us now is a man who does say no, including to the powerful. He's our friend Marc Morano, and he's the boss of ClimateDepot.com. Marc, great to see you. I'm sorry, I was having a bit of a hard time reading those tweets from Bill Gates about poop and artificial meat. What do you make of it all?
Well, this is interesting. Now, Bill Gates' new book is out. He actually talks about forcing us to change our diets through regulation. And he comments in, I think it was an interview with CBS News, that we'll get used to the taste difference as we eat these processed, vegetable burgers that are allegedly like meat. Now, as World Economic Forum, closely aligned with Bill Gates, they're arguing for printed meat that you can just print up, pounds of meat a day, and then, it'll have the same consistency, get used to the taste. And a lot of these have 22 plus ingredients, and they're all kinds of weird vegetable oils mixed together with flavorings. I mean, and some of the reviews are, and this is even on CNN, they're not nutritious. You're better off with a salmon burger or a low-fat burger, and they have all those people out there worry about organic stuff. I mean, these are a lot of different processed food. If you're curious about buying directly, eating from the earth, which a lot of you think of a lot of the climate alarmists and climate campaigners would be, so it makes no sense. Now, in terms of his poop, drinking the poop, this, if you isolate what Bill Gates was saying, it's in Senegal and it's some processing plant. And the idea is people get all sorts of diarrhea and illnesses from, contaminated water. And this is a way to get sort of the sewage and make it drinkable. I don't, this was, now years ago. I haven't seen an update. I don't know how successful this is. But interestingly enough, there's a guy a few years before this that was claiming that he could make a poop burger. Oh. So this is not an isolation of Bill Gates. And they're actually talking about all these burgers. They actually did a YouTube video, and then other people said it was a hoax. But after now seeing Bill Gates brag about drinking poop water, why would a poop burger be a hoax? And if the World Economic Forum is counting printed meat, who knows what we can believe anymore. Now the new slogan of the World Economic Forum with Bill Gates is to be, you'll own nothing, be happy, eat poop burgers, and drink poop water. I think that's their new modified slogan.
I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm being so sensitive to this now. I think maybe it's because for the first time ever, I think they actually mean it.
Oh, they mean it.
And so I'm taking it perhaps more seriously rather than just some elementary school boys having a gross out contest, each one trying to outgross the other, or those comedians telling the aristocrats joke.
Well, I want to say one thing. It's also insects. World Economic Forum and the climate campaigners are all pushing eating insects to save the earth. And I mean, that is actually the real push immediately. They've even got Hollywood celebrities like Nicole Kidman and others doing videos for Vanity Fair about how yummy live insects are. I don't know where the animal rights people are, but they're now pushing that as well.
I don't understand it. I saw an interesting tweet by our friend Dr. Patrick Moore, the co-founder of Greenpeace, who's become a bit of a dissident. He points out that cows eat things that people don't. I mean, obviously people don't eat grass. There's things with a certain amount of cellulose in them that cows' 4 tummies can digest that we can't. So it's not like cows are doing, are competing that we should be eating the vegetables that the cows are. I mean, I think that there's just no common sense here. Cows and meat are so closely associated with humanity since the dawn of civilization. As any dentist will tell you, our teeth are called canines because we are built to be carnivores. The jaw of a human is the jaw of a carnivore if you want to get right down to evolution or, what is our purpose. I'm not even quoting the Bible of, man's dominion over the animals. I'm trying to make sense of this because I don't think there's a scientific case for it. I find it very odd. Is there an emotional reason? Is there a religious or superstitious reason? Do they really think it's the right thing, Mark? How can you actually say eat poop, eat bugs, print meat, don't eat meat? Why would they say something that seems actually diabolical? Is like, if they were answering deeply honestly, what would they say their real motivation is?
Well, first of all, it's a climate emergency. That's always the motivation for everything, for all of this social change. In other words, if we don't act, John Kerry today said we had 9 years left to save the planet. That is what's driving all of this. Now, that's on one hand, that's an ideology / disguised as science. On the other, interestingly enough, Bill Gates is now the largest farm owner in America.
Yeah.
So you start wondering, and you heard reports earlier years ago of Soros buying up coal plants that were going offline. And the theory at the time was maybe he was buying coal plants in order, once they're all shut down, he'll have a monopoly once they're needed if wind and solar are mandated and fail as backups. So part of it is, I think it's just an ideology of central planning. And they're always looking for justifications. And the COVID lockdowns have been a great one, as we've seen the last year. But the climate is an enduring one. And I'm sure COVID will be too. But it's an enduring one of what their natural instinct is. They don't like the idea, the messiness of human freedom and living. They want to put us all in cities. They want to pack us in. They want to have us own nothing. And they want us to regulate literally every aspect of our lives. And we're seeing this now. One quick classic example, COVID climate. Bill Gates wants to buy, and he brags in his book. I shouldn't say he brags, but he confesses that he's the worst spokesman for this. And he took a private jet to the UN Paris Agreement, all this stuff. But he's still bidding for the world's largest private jet transport company for he and his billionaire buddies, number one. And number two, on the climate front, you have climate activists saying you can't fly unless it's morally justifiable in a climate emergency. So this is where we are. This is, the George Orwell's, you want to see the future of the human race, it's a boot stamped on their face. And this is it. This is how it comes out. It's that central planning ideological instinct, and they need the scare. COVID, climate, whatever the scare is, that's the simplest answer. And they think it's an arrogance of just planning. They want people to eat this. You have the people in Senegal, they don't have to go anywhere. We'll print them meat. They can drink the poop water. We've got that handled. We're going to work on this next. We're going to manage the economy. We're going to manage energy. We're going to manage transportation. We're going to manage all the food you eat. We're going to manage, whether you go to school. We're going to manage what kind of, your thermostat set. It's an incredible centralized planning ideology that's just taken over and basically running amok right now.
That's an excerpt from my daily show, The Ezra Levant Show. Every day I do a monologue on the news of the day, then I interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. You gotta subscribe. Go to rebelnews.com.